Life, at times, feels like a small boat floating on a vast ocean. There are moments in the dark of night when it feels as though even the shining stars in the sky have abandoned you. The ocean either carries you to the harbor you long for, or it sinks you in its midst. The boat goes wherever the wind blows, wherever the waves push. Its beginning and its end are decided by an unseen force. I am one of the countless human beings who came into this world without a plan or a design. And since I do not wish to reveal my real name or where I live, you can call me by my pen name, Rahel. Like everyone else, Rahel is a person who came into this world without forethought or planning. But as I grew and learned, as I observed the circumstances of my upbringing and my surroundings, I became like any other person, one who wished for love, yearned for a good marriage, and desired a good life. In my dreams and thoughts, love was a canopy of safety, and marriage was a harbor of peace. To me, that harbor was not just a picture. It was the final resting place where you could shelter from the storms and waves of life, tie up your ship, and say, "I have arrived." Driven by this yearning, I didn't even finish my education. Like many of my peers, like what everyone does, I set out for a life of migration in my youth. The reason I migrated was to find a better life, but the journey of migration was not as easy as what we see in movies. When my mind returns to that time, I can still remember the smell of the Sahara's heat, the sound of fear that crept in the darkness, and the shock I saw in the eyes of my fellow travelers. Every day that passed left a new thorn piercing my heart. The turmoil and suffering I encountered on the way hardened my heart like iron and deepened my soul's thirst for peace and love. Once I had left, I had to endure and persevere. And so, after passing through immense hardship and many trials, when I finally reached the country I had longed for, I thanked my Creator and began a new chapter in my life. While I was doing well, I met a young man through social media, on Messenger. His name was Samuel. Samuel, just like his name suggested, seemed like an answer to my prayers sent from God. He appeared to be an incredibly wise, righteous, kind, and caring person, and so we continued as friends for about a year. During that 1 year, we had the chance to discover who he was and who I was, what kind of person he was, and what kind of person I was, what dreams I had, and what dreams he had. We would talk about everything, from the tea leaves in our homes to the dreams we held in the sky. He would talk about the house he wanted to build, and I, about the flowers I wanted to plant in that house. We painted a picture of our lives together. And so, after a year of this deep friendship, our relationship transformed into what we both had been individually hoping and wishing for. Our friendship and affection turned into a romantic path. After it turned romantic, it brought us both immense happiness. He was at peace, I was calm, and I loved our relationship. Believing that I was about to live the life I had always dreamed of, I was filled with joy and began to thank my God. He was so gentle. He would call me at specific times every single day to check on me. If I even mentioned I was feeling slightly unwell, he would spend the night sleepless with worry. "How are you feeling? Are you okay?" he would ask me repeatedly. What's most amazing is that even when I had forgotten about my ailment, he never would. He would ask me again and again, "How are you now? Is there any change? What did the doctors say?" He showed me his care, respect, and love day in and day out. He was always thinking about our future. When he thought about our future, he would always talk to me and consult with me about the children we would have and the life we would build. Ma'am, he wasn't just my lover, he was my brother, my friend, my father, a special person who understood everything about me. Because of this, he became the reason I barely noticed the burden of being in exile, The weight and loneliness of migration were warmed and lightened by his voice and his care, like a fire lit on a cold night. My small room, filled with the hopes of our future, felt as spacious as a palace. I had found the love I had been dreaming of since childhood. Because I had found someone who cared for me, respected me, was concerned for me, and made me feel loved, I was happier than words can say. As you know, love is a sweet thing. I am sure that all of you listening to this story have experienced love, and I don't think you can forget the kind of sweetness that comes, especially when two people of the opposite sex are in love. Yes, love is the best thing in this world. If you have an abundance of love, you may not worry too much about not having money. If there is love and peace, you believe that money can come later. The greatest weakness of a human being is the feeling of being unwanted. This feeling can bring anyone down and make them lose hope. But for me, my boyfriend, who was my friend for a year and my lover for another, always made me realize how loved I was, how desired I was, and how precious my worth was. For all of this, I was at peace. I would thank him, and he would thank me. Whenever something happened, we would respectfully apologize to each other. He was so wise, such a good person. When he entered my life, so many things changed. He gave me hope, a purpose, and the strength to keep going. He made me think about the future and imagine a better tomorrow. I don't know how I could ever repay his kindness. His good deeds are engraved on my heart like writing, and I fully believed that I was the person who deserved to receive this precious gift. But the most saddening and surprising thing is, perhaps because trials are an inevitable part of human life, while I had this lover whom I adored, praised, trusted, and was proud of, one day I don't know what came over me. Like rain falling from a cloudless sky, my personality changed. I just couldn't be the same person I was at the beginning with my boyfriend. We had been in a loving relationship for over a year, and as I told you before, we had been friends for over a year before that. We then spent another full year together in a relationship filled with love, harmony, care, and mutual respect. But my behavior changed. I don't know what happened to me. I couldn't even understand my own reasons. I just became difficult and irritable. When he called me, I didn't feel happy. My phone ringing, which once made my heart tremble with joy, now sounded like an alarm warning of danger. When I saw his name, an unknown weight would settle upon me. Everything about me had changed, and he, noticing my state, was shocked. What's wrong with her? He wondered. Because we had always been at peace, he couldn't understand what reason I had to be so difficult. And if we're being honest, I had no reason to be. If he tried to think of a mistake he could correct to stop my sullen behavior, there was nothing he could point to and say, I did this, and that's why she is acting this way. Because he was, I don't know. He was a perfect man with no flaws to this day. Even more than perfect. He cared for me more than I deserved, did for me more than he had to, and was concerned for me more than I was worthy of. So this sudden change was impossible for either of us to understand. And I asked myself, what is happening to me? Why was my behavior changing towards this wonderful lover? I stood in front of the mirror, looking at my face, and argued with myself for a long time. Who are you? I asked myself. But the Rahel in the mirror seemed like a stranger. The Rahel who had thirsted for love was now running from it. I couldn't control my behavior. I had changed, even to myself. I don't know what came over me. But as I later realized, while I was asking myself what was happening, I remembered another young man I had been talking to as a friend. His name is Jonas. Our conversation started with simple things. We talked about general topics, about work. But his voice had a certain freedom to it. His talk was not structured and caring like Samuel's. It was like a spontaneous melody that touched my heart. I found that I was only truly happy when he called me. I only felt joy when he talked to me, when I thought about him, when I looked deep inside myself and understood my feelings. I realized I had fallen in love with the other person, with Jonas. You might call me a betrayer, but I myself never knew I was this kind of person. I truly believed I loved my boyfriend. In my past life, I was the kind of girl who would give up many things for the sake of others, just to keep a clear conscience. I don't understand how or why this happened. How could I, when Samuel was so gentle and loving? It was only later that I understood I wasn't in love with him. Perhaps because we knew each other for a year and our friendship was so good, I got used to him. And that's why I accepted his proposal and stayed with him in a relationship for a year. Or maybe it's because I like good people. But the truth is, what he gave me was not the love I thought I had for him. I think I fell in love with the peace and security he provided. I was someone who didn't know the difference between love and security. I interpreted security as love, but my heart knew the truth. I was with him for a year. I don't know. What I'm telling you now is painful to speak of. Please don't take it too seriously. When a person finds the life they've always dreamed of, how can they start wishing for something else? I can't understand my own behavior. I am at a loss about what to do with myself. My interactions with Jonas, which I thought were just friendship, had turned into a deep, overwhelming love. If he didn't call, I felt unhappy. I wanted to talk to him all the time. More than anything, my thoughts were of him. My mind was consumed with him day and night. As this pattern continued, my peace was shattered, and I felt that I was deceiving Samuel because I didn't love him. Even if I wanted to continue with him for his sake, the fact is, I don't love him. I am only lying. I am only pretending. This, in turn, robbed me of my peace. At night, my conscience would judge me like a cruel magistrate. Why are you tormenting this innocent man? It would scold me. As I tossed and turned, unable to sleep, the faces of Samuel and Jonas would appear before me, one after the other. I was betraying one while giving false hope to the other. I was torn between them. But I thought to myself, I don't deserve Samuel. I am breaking his chance to live with someone who truly loves him. I didn't want him to live with a girl who doesn't love him, who is yearning for another man, but stays with him only because she has no other choice and appreciates his love, care, and respect, simply because he is a good person. But telling you this is one thing, doing it was not easy. How could I tell him? What could I possibly say? I'm sorry, Samuel, but because you gave me the love, respect, care, and gentleness I always dreamed of, I couldn't fall in love with you. Saying something like that became a heavier trial than I can describe. As I thought about all this, trying to calm my heart and silence my conscience, I still couldn't love him. Not at all. My heart was only with the man I had approached as a friend. And this was happening even though I knew how wrong it was. Life is so strange. Perhaps for those of you who have not experienced something like this, it might be very difficult to understand. But I guess sometimes we humans change out of nowhere. I don't know, I just can't understand it all. I never had this kind of character before. And to think, after being friends with my boyfriend for over a year, and then moving into a relationship, I genuinely loved him from my heart. I used to thank God that I had found someone who understood me. I thought I would spend the rest of my life with him. But what happened to me was a storm I never expected. Perhaps I can offer a piece of advice here. When you have a lover, getting too close to another person, whether you call it friendship or brotherhood, is not a good idea. It's inevitable that for one person, or for both, it will turn into love. So, especially to my sisters, many of us girls make male friends, and I think it's not right. The word friendship can become a cover for feelings blossoming within us. It's like giving someone permission to open your heart and enter. But once they are inside, how can you control it? The heart has no logic, and I think Satan tempts us. That might be why this happened to me. But this is just my guess. In any case, telling my boyfriend the truth was incredibly difficult, but I felt like I was deceiving him, and I felt I was robbing him of his right to know the truth. I had no other choice. When I picked up the phone to call him, my hand was trembling. The food I was eating got stuck in my throat. With every word I spoke, my heart broke along with it. With a breaking heart, full of sadness and sorrow, I just said, I am not the right person for you, so please find someone who is. I am not the person you deserve. He was shocked and couldn't accept it at all. And he was right. With all our love and all his care, he couldn't possibly accept it. I understand him. If I were in his place, I might have lost my mind. I don't know what else I can tell you. My words and my sudden change hurt him deeply. He was wounded and scarred. He couldn't accept anything I said. Especially at the beginning, he didn't believe I was really saying those things. Because he had already decided to spend his life with me, to grow old with me. But I forced him away. I don't know, maybe I had a hidden nature of a betrayer inside me. So I told him the whole truth, but to this day, he cannot accept it. He simply cannot believe it. And to tell you the truth, I wanted to continue with the one I am in love with Yoni, because I am overwhelmed by a dizzying, crazy love for him. But I was scared. I thought, if I continue with Yoni, what I did to Samuel might come back to haunt me. Retribution, that single word couldn't leave my mind for weeks. I thought that the tears of an innocent person would not bless my future. As strong as my love for Jonas was, the shadow of the wrong I did to Samuel loomed just as large over me. So, I decided to distance myself from both of them, to be left with nothing from either of them. I wanted to start my life over from scratch. But my boyfriend couldn't hear me or understand me. He is still begging me, let's not break up. He absolutely refuses to let me go or to accept my words. He is right, of course. How could he possibly accept it? Sometimes I think we humans desire those who do not desire us. Now that he knows I don't want him, he wants me more than ever. But I understand that this is my problem to deal with. Yet, I cannot love him. The thought or desire of getting back with him is completely gone. There is nothing. If you ask me, what did he do wrong? I have no answer. He did absolutely nothing wrong, because he is a faithful and loving man. But I cannot be with him. So what can I do? I can't. I've listened to my feelings, my inner self, everything, calmly and quietly. And moving forward, being with him is impossible. If it were to happen, it would only be out of pity, out of lies. And that is not what he deserves. I am sure he can find a girl who loves him more than I ever could, because he deserves love. He is a seeker of love, of marriage, of peace. He is one of the few good men in this world. So this man does not need lies and sorrow. I think this way because he is a person who truly deserves to be loved. You might be thinking, after betraying him and hurting him like this, are you really thinking of him this much? I think of him more than my own life. I respect him immensely. I love him dearly, and I am certain I will live the rest of my days loving and respecting him. But my desire to be with him is dead. Once I looked at another man, I could not go back to him. Honestly, even if I decided to be with him out of pity, my conscience wouldn't say yes. My conscience would not accept it, because I have betrayed him once. From now on, I am not a worthy woman for him. I am like a broken mirror. Even if you try to piece it back together, the cracks will always be visible.
The other path leads to the love my heart has chosen, but it is covered by the shadow of my transgression. Which way should I go to be saved? Which one is right? Should I distance myself from both, start over from scratch and build a new life? Perhaps in that new life, if I fall in love with a new person, should I pursue that? Or, since I told my ex-boyfriend the truth, can I just continue in a loving relationship with Yoni, the one I love now? Please, lend me your advice, and please, help me in your prayers. This was your sister, Rahel, by my pen name, with you. Thank you.